Parklands of Floyds Fork announced just last week that they were expanding acreage in different areas. It was a shocker. But I then learned in an interview with the founder, what didn't make headlines was the housing development plan that also got pulled. The brown, dry grasses don't rob the beauty of the Parklands of Floyds Fork, even in winter.
Oh, there's native grasses here, there are native wildflowers.
The brilliant sunshine highlighting the wilderness.
The Parklands is up to over, I think, 200 bird species identified.
The Parklands right now is a total of 4,000 acres, a true buffer zone to the mayhem of development in the fastest growing parts of Metro Louisville.
We are literally entering the 508 acres. Like now.
Meet the founder of the Parklands of Floyds Fork, Dan Jones. You could hear the applause across Louisville when he announced they are adding an additional 664 acres to the popular park system that will now stretch for the very first time into Bullitt County.
Well, I kid you not, this is incredible.
But the land, which connects to the Broad Run section of the Parklands, was actually headed for a different fate. How close, Dan, was it to being developed?
Well, I mean, it has a development plan on it.
It's no surprise the Parklands has made adjacent land across its 20-mile stretch much more valuable. In essence, they're in a race with themselves.
If we hadn't bought it, it would have been sold to, either a wealthy homeowner who would have built a big house right in the middle of the park, or maybe a developer who would have done, 10, 20, 30 lots.
This is it behind us.
This is it. This is right here, yeah.
Dan Jones came up with the idea for the Parklands, and his dad raised the money. His father, the late David Jones Sr., the co-founder of Humana. But lost in their announcement of the recent expansion is the real story behind this 500 acres out of the 664. That's where this takes a major new twist.
And one day the light bulb moment was sort of, Dan, you Dumbo, you own it.
When David Jones was alive, he worried about the future costs of maintaining the Parklands since it isn't taxpayer support. It's all donor supported. It was a guarantee they made to the former mayor.
Our promise to Jerry Abramson is that this park would never be a burden on the city. We all know the current dilemma the city has in funding their parks and the many challenges.
So the Joneses announced that this 500 acres they already owned would be developed as a way to raise big money for the future maintenance of the Parklands. But after David died in 2022, Dan had a change of heart. Was it time to preserve the acreage instead?
Well, so I asked myself that question, right? Because my dad was my partner in this.
He met with his siblings and family. They all control the Parklands endowment.
I said, I think that we should not develop it, that I think we can raise the money we need to raise for the future of the Parklands in other ways.
They all agreed. And his late father?
My dad was a very flexible person. I think he would have agreed with me, but even if he hadn't, I think I could have convinced him that it was the right thing to do.
The land already has a name.
The Parklands Preserve, kind of like a mini Bernheim.
He says when it's open, it will be the quiet heart of the Parklands. So now for the future, instead of development, this is what this is going to look like.
100%, yeah, and you can see this is what I call trees of the future, right? Right now, these are, 10-year-old trees or whatever, but in 100 years, they're going to be big trees, so.
A place where the business model is taking care of your soul with nature, and not just humans.
That also includes, bees and birds and bugs, that they have a nice place.
Jones says it's from donors like you that help keeps the Parklands going strong, and that the endowment allows them to protect that land and possibly even expand again for the long term. You could call it a Christmas gift to all of Louisville.